me and Kendall, we tried to go have lunch at Big Tuna in Palmdale. And they're like, yeah, no indoor dining. Bye, Felicia. Only outdoor. Only takeout. And I was like, what? And then I walked next door to, what's that restaurant called? Fuck. BJ's. Mm-hmm. And they are offering indoor dining at 25% capacity. Uh-huh. But the wait was like 45 minutes. It's like, no.
Because people want to go eat.
Well, I just moseyed on down the mall drive, and I made it to Madrano's. Uh-huh. I walked in. They was like, you want to sit? I want to sit. I sat. I had 2 margaritas, and the waiter, he was like, oh, please, let me give you a shot on, because I was like, we're done. Like, I want to pay.
What did you eat?
Well, I had what I usually get, the chili relleno and a cheese enchilada. Oh. And Kendall had a quesadilla, and she had fried ice cream. Oh. And I got Jamal a burrito. And, while we were waiting, I had a margarita. And then when I was waiting for Jamal's meal to come, because I ordered it after we were done eating, I had another margarita. And then I had a shot.
Of what? Tequila?
I'm sure it was tequila, but it was like a little half shot.
I'm sure it was tequila.
It was a little half shot. And so then when I got home, I climbed in the bed and I rolled over and I went to sleep.
Nice.
And apparently I was snoring because my husband left the room. I was like, why'd you leave? He was like, oh, you seem tired. I said, was I snoring? And he was like, yep. I was like, forget you then. Bye. Thanks for the nap. I needed it.
Look, I wish I could have taken a nap. I got Norman a freaking air fryer because he kept for the last. Okay, so we've gone through 2 air fryers.
Because I was gonna say, don't you have an air fryer?
We've gone through 2 air fryers, and so the last air fryer went out maybe a year ago. So every day, I hear, I need to get an air fryer. I need to get an air fryer. I need to get it. And I'm just like, just get the freaking air fryer already.
Right, do it.
And so finally, I was in Lancaster when I had to take back that thing. So I went to Big Lots, because I haven't been to Big Lots in fucking forever.
Nor have I.
And so I went to Big Lots, and they had a Emerald Lagasse air fryer, 7-quart.
Ooh.
For $69.95.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm just going to get this fucking air fryer. And I'm not going to have to hear about it anymore.
Yeah.
Because the last one we had was like a 4-quart. And he paid the same amount.
Yeah. Mine's hella tiny. I've got a small one.
Girl, the Emerald Lagasse one is $60. Actually, no, it's $79. It was marked $69.99, like the little tag on the shelf. Mm-hmm. But when I got to the fucking cash register, it was $79.99.
Did you take a picture of it?
I should have said something.
I would have.
I didn't. I was just like, fuck it. Let me just get the fuck out of here. Because they were taking too long in there, and I was just like,
you're sick of it. Well, listen how petty I am. I went to Target yesterday, and I brought in my bags. And I did my shopping bags.
Oh, okay.
And I did self-checkout, and I put in that I had 3 bags, and I went through the process and everything. And then I couldn't find on the receipt where it said it gave me 15 cents back for, my bags. So I asked the girl, I was like, hey, girl, I'm checking out, and I don't see, the bag refund. It's fine if it's not on there. I'm not going to sweat you guys over 15 cents, but it asked me to, it counted my bags. So... And she goes to the receipt. She's like, I'm sure it's on here. And then she finds it. She's like, oh, there it is. I was like, thanks, girl. 15 cents.
Crazy.
That's how the rich stay rich. I'm not rich.
That's nuts.
But
15 cents. Trying to make $1 out of 15 cents.
I'm saying that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to count them pennies, right? But, so... That's
I don't even look at receipts. So.
Well, I've been going to the stores lately, and they're hoping that you don't look at the receipt because they always hit me for a $10 bag charge. I was like, I brought $10 bag charge, and I was like, hey, I brought my own bag. They're like, oh, my bad. Like it's just in their DNA to charge you for a recyclable bag.
I don't get the bags.
I say I don't need a bag, and the shit was still on there. I was like, hey, girl, you trying to charge me for a bag? And she's like, oh, my bad. Like a couple times.
Usually the girl will be like, oh, do you need a bag? After she already rung me up and I already paid. I'm like, yeah, I'll take a bag.
That's funny. So, what's going on, Brittany? Was that your week, or how is your week?
Yeah, that's pretty much my week. Yeah, so how was your week?
Spring is here. Yesterday was spring. This past week was St. Patrick's Day. I got to wear my green wig. It was so fun.
Yep.
You might see some videos popping up with me with green hair because I just like feeling myself. So I was shooting all kinds of content.
You were making videos.
St. Patrick's Day. Yeah.
I did not do a damn thing on St. Patrick's Day.
I put up a reel yesterday, because it was the first day of spring, and I was like, "Ooh, I feel like I'm like a spring goddess of some sort, running around with green hair, planting seeds." So, look out for all that fresh green content.
Running around planting seeds. Were you throwing seeds in the air?
Seeds in the air. Ooh, I like that. Let's shoot a video. I need you to help me shoot that. Anyway, hey, I'm Sunny Hepburn.
And I'm Brandy Fleeks.
And this is Book of Lies. The podcast.
It's both bitches.
It's both bitches. Hello, and welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here with us. And to our current subscribers and you guys that keep coming back every week, thank you so much. We love you so much, and thank you for being here. To the new listeners, hello. Go ahead and subscribe. Come back next week. We're going to bring you some more stuff. You can connect with us on social if you aren't already, at Twitter at Book of Lies Pod, on Instagram and Facebook at Book of Lies Podcast. We have a website, bookofliespodcast.com. Visit that. You could listen to all of our previous episodes. You could find our social handles, and you could find your podcatcher to listen to the podcast, of course. And all those good things. And Brandy, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Crazy Eddi.
Crazy Eddi!
Yes, Crazy Eddi.
Okay.
I was like, what the hell is a Crazy Eddi? And then I found out. So,
what's a Crazy Eddi?
Rather, who is Crazy Eddi? Okay, so Crazy Eddi, for those of you who live on the East Coast, probably know about Crazy Eddi. Crazy Eddi was a consumer electronics chain that started in 1971 in Brooklyn, New York. And it was started by a father and son called Eddie and Sam Antar. Now, this is Sam M. Antar. And it operated on the East Coast in the tri-state area. And at its height, it had 43 stores.
Oh, wow.
Eddie Antar. What are you doing?
I was just taking notes. Look it, I want to take what I learned and put it on a podcast.
Eddie Antar ran the store while his father Sam let him, he took a back seat. So Eddie basically ran things at the store. And apparently he was called Crazy Eddi because of the way he used aggressive sales tactics.
Okay.
And people would call him Crazy Eddi. So they named the store Crazy Eddi. It was called something else before 1971, but they changed the name. So Eddie had bought a lot of advertising space on this radio station in New York, WPIX FM, and there was a DJ, Dr. Jerry Carroll, who did all of his advertising, voice
radio
work
spots.
or whatever, yeah. And so at the end of every commercial, he'd say his prices are insane, and I guess he'd do like a his prices are insane type of shit,
yeah, on
YouTube from the commercials, because he did radio commercials, then he moved to TV commercials, and DJ Jerry Carroll was also in the TV commercials too. They said it was something like 5,300 commercials that he did.
God.
Yeah. This also my sources are whitecollarfraud.com and Wikipedia, and there's also a bunch of stuff on from the New York Times and Money, CNN, things like that. So as soon as they started the business, pretty much, they started doing some dirt. Eddie did. The company is a family-run company, though, so you have to think that the others knew about it if they weren't directly involved. Their crimes involved from 1969 to 1971, because remember, it was named something before 1971. They skimmed and underreported income to avoid taxes. To avoid paying income tax. In 1980 to 1984, they gradually stopped their skimming. to increase their profit margins in order to go public.
So they're like, let's stop taking all of the money and let's report some profits.
Right.
To become public.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And from 1984 to 1987, they overstated their income and they did a lot of insider trading. So we'll get into all of that stuff. That was just the overview. WhiteCollarFraud.com is now run by Sammy Antar, who was also involved in this thing, but he has what?
He's a part of the website?
It's run by him.
Okay.
They started, they deliberately falsified their books to reduce or eliminate their taxable income, and they paid their employees off the books, and they regularly skimmed thousands of dollars in cash that from every store.
What did they sell?
Consumer electronics. They're like Radio Shack.
Okay.
They would pay their employees partially by check. So they would pay, like, say, an employee made $30,000 a year. They would pay the employee like $10,000 by check, and then they would pay the other $20,000 in cash, so that they didn't have to report that $20,000. And it also, they say, helped the employees to avoid having to pay income tax as well. So yeah. And they also didn't want to pay, because you have to pay payroll tax. They didn't want to pay payroll tax, so they also did it to avoid paying payroll tax.
We don't want to pay tax, so we're just going to do...
They didn't want to pay tax.
Just because they don't want to pay tax. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. Their employees, for every $5 that Crazy Eddi as a store reported as income, they took $1. So every $5 that they reported to the IRS, they also took $1.
20%.
And
tucked it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 20%.
In 1979, they began depositing most of that money into Israeli bank accounts. More than one. It was estimated that they skimmed $3 to $4 million a year at the height of all of this fraud.
Jesus.
In one offshore bank account, they had deposited more than $6 million between 1980 and 1983. By 83, it was getting harder for them to hide all their fucking money. So they're like, okay, let's just go public. That way we don't have to try to hide all this money, and we'll have investors. And I guess they would figure out a way to work around all the taxes by that point. So in order to do that, though, they again would have to in order to go public, it had to look like they were making money. So they were like, we're going to slow down the skimming, we're going to stop the skimming, and we're going to report that as earned income. It looked like, when they had finally stopped the skimming, it looked like their profits had gone up by 177%.
Holy hell.
Because of all of the fucking money that was being put back into the business. But that's not the case, because they weren't making more money. They were just, putting money back. So
they were just reporting it.
Yeah, their income wasn't going up at all. It was pretty much the fucking same. Their profit margins, it looked like, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I said 177. It's 171%. So they had made $1.7 million in 1980. And by 1984, it looked like they were making $8 million a year. Despite that, they still went public. And when they first went public, the shares they started at $8 a share. And by 1986, they were being traded at $75 a share.
Woo! That's value.
Uh-huh. So in order to help with the freaking the money situation, they hired, well, they already had he was already working there. Eddie's cousin Sam, his dad's name is Sam, but Eddie's cousin goes by Sammy. They hired him as the CFO. He was already, he said he was working as a stock boy, and they put him through college, because they're like, he's gotten a degree in accounting. So they're like, your degree in accounting is going to help us out. So they paid for his college. And he worked at the store while he was going to school during, the whole time. So he also did an apprenticeship with the auditor, Crazy Editor's auditor. a company called Penn and Horowitz. So in 1986, they named him CFO, and they told him that there was a $3 million deficit from the previous year's inventory fraud that needed to be hitting, because they were doing inventory fraud as well.
The fuck?
They were filing insurance claims.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
They were filing false insurance claims on inventory.
Like it got stolen or went missing.
Loss prevention shit. So, or broken, So yeah, they were filing false insurance claims, and they needed to figure out, or they told him that there was a $3 million deficit from that year, and it needed to be hidden. And he was instructed to find ways to show a 10% sales growth in the company.
Sammy?
Uh-huh.
I was like, fuck this job.
So he came up with a scheme called the Panama Pump, where he would launder money. They would launder money through bank accounts in Panama. And that's what he called it, the Panama Pump. So the Panama Pump money laundering scheme the cash skimmed from Crazy Eddi before its initial public offering was laundered back into the company after it went public to inflate revenues of the reported profits. So
the money that they had already stole, they had to bring it back in and launder it in some type of way. Mm-hmm. So they're just circle jerking themselves with this fucking money.
Yeah, because after the company went public, that's how they got it up to $75 a share.
Yeah,
they were
buying stuff,
pushing the money back in to the company through Panama. Weird, right? They would overstate inventory assets and do fraudulent asset valuations. And, so they had opened up these bank accounts in Panama using fake names, and then they would write payments to Crazy Eddi. So Eddie and Sammy and a few other people, because there was a bunch of other people involved in this shit, they increased the amounts of inventory fraud to increase reported profits and inflate the value of the stock. For the fiscal year ended March 1st, 1985, Crazy Eddi falsified inventories by $3 million. The next fiscal year, that amount increased to between $10 and $12 million. That they were fucking faking inventory. They were falsifying inventory values.
Wow.
They go public, right? And Eddie is a fucking cheater. So his wife finds out that he's cheating.
Oh, that kind of cheater.
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of cheater, huh?
His wife finds out that he's cheating. And he's having an affair with another woman. His wife's name is Debbie, and he's also having an affair with a woman named Debbie.
What a dum-dum.
I guess that's how you avoid getting caught. Cheat with a woman that has the same name. But he got caught. They found him. Him and his wife and his sister caught him cheating.
Okay.
on New Year's Eve in 1984. And then all of the bullshit with the company starts happening. Like, they start going down. In 1987, Sammy wasn't able to start, he wasn't able to continue showing that the company was making profits.
Yeah.
So it basically, he stopped focusing on trying to show profitability, and instead started focusing on trying to hide all the dirt that they had been doing.
Oh.
Because the shit obviously is going to start coming out once they realize, well, you guys aren't profitable and there's some bullshit going on.
Because when you're public, you share all of that info. It's public. You're supposed to share all of your.
They kept
your
2 sets of books.
Oh.
They kept 2 sets of books.
Wow, looks like they're ready, huh?
But yeah, so he was trying to hide, the fucking previous frauds. During the fiscal year of 1987, they falsified inventories between $22.5 and $28 million. And Eddie booked $20 million in phony debit memos or chargebacks to vendors that reduced their accounts payable. So basically, he was like, okay, well, I owe company B $20,000, but I'm going to credit them some chargebacks. So now I'll only pay them 10. But they were fake chargebacks. Like they wouldn't fucking know that you know what I mean?
He's stupid.
So it started getting harder to hide this shit. And the public perception of the company, started to change, and people were like, oh, this company's not doing so good.
Mm-hmm.
So by 1986, the company's stock value had gone down from that $75 to $17.50 a share.
That's quite the drop.
Yeah. During December, Eddi announced that he was resigning as a CEO. So he cashed himself out. He freaking sold all his stock and bounced.
Bet he did.
But meanwhile, he was also telling people that, basically he was giving people tips so that they could dump stock, and that other people,
insider trading.
And so he would get all of these unsuspecting fucking investors that would be buying all this stock, and then he would inflate the stock value there and then dump all the stock that was basically, worthless. And did that for a minute. But yeah, well, he decided he wanted out in 1986.
Jeez.
So he resigned. So, and then in April 1987, he announced that he was still the president, but he had dismissed a bunch of people, including his father.
You fire your daddy?
Because his dad, when they first started, his dad owned a third of the company.
Yeah.
Eddi owned two-thirds of the company.
Okay, so he had controlling share.
Mm-hmm. But then when they went public, they went public. And again, his father was not involved in the business dealings. He let his son run the company. So he got rid of a bunch of people. And then when he fucking decided to cash out his fucking stock, he got between $25 and $30 million.
Wow.
By spring of 1987, the company's stock cost less than $10 a share, and the earnings decreased from 20% from the previous year. The franchise did show a 34% sales increase, but that was mainly the result of 13 new store openings, because they were opening stores across in the tri-state area there.
Mm-hmm.
And they had, 43 stores at the height of their game.
That's a lot of fucking stores. That's a lot of rent. There's a lot of overhead. You got to make sure that inventory is coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking about the logistics and all the moving parts.
But as a franchise, he just had to, people bought their locations, and depending on the type of franchise, he could have been a completely hands-off.
Yeah, depending on the setup.
And he was just making money off the franchise fees.
True.
Or, if he's like McDonald's is like, they're a franchise, but like they make sure that everything is running smoothly. Subway is more like, well, we let our owners do what they want. So in May of 1987, he wanted to take the company private again.
What?
Yeah, he wanted to take the company private again because it was hard. Like, as a public company, it was hard for him to hide all their fucking fraud.
Why can't they be real about it? Like,
Why would you?
Why?
Why would you? He had to do a bunch of stuff before they could do that.
Do we have to buy back all the shares?
I don't know. Oh, so okay. While he's trying to make the company private again, there's another company that has shares already, and they're like, "Fuck this, we're gonna fucking do a hostile takeover." So they started buying up shares of Crazy Eddi.
Ooh.
They started buying up the shares. They bought $17.5 million worth of Crazy Eddi stock. The company it was a businessman called Elias Zinn and his partner Victor Palmieri. So they bought all of these fucking shares worth $17.5 million, and that was 7.5% of the outstanding shares. Once people started to hear about it, they started to do a financial analysis of the company. And they figured out that their stockholders had lost money since 1984. They were losing money every year. And Eddi had sold 6.5 million shares that were worth $74 million. They got sued. People started suing the family, the Antar family. So Eddie and Sammy tried to counteroffer Zinn's takeover, but Zinn was like, no, I want this company. The Antars lost, and Zinn became the new owner of Crazy Eddi on November 6th, 1987. He fired the Antar family. And after they had finished all of their financial analysis, they realized that Crazy Eddi's inventory was short by $40 to $50 million, and the final figure was $80 million.
So they probably did a bunch of insurance fraud and lied about inventory. So it's probably fraud on shit that they never even bought. They're like, oh, it just $40 million?
For $40 to $50 million. But yeah,
off.
In the end, it was $80 million that the inventory was short by.
$80 million? That's a lot of fucking money.
Yes.
Radios, TVs, and shit.
Video game systems, all of that stuff.
Damn!
So by June 1988, Crazy Eddi suppliers were demanding the liquidation of the companies because they wanted their money because they were owed money as well.
Yeah.
Because of them fake-ass fucking chargebacks. In 1989, the company closed, and Crazy Eddi closed 17 of its 43 stores. June 6th, 1989, Crazy Eddi was served with a petition by 5 of its creditors who hadn't been paid a total of $860,000 that they were owed. So they wanted to have the company forced into bankruptcy. The company originally planned to fight the petition and file for dismissal, but 15 days later, Crazy Eddi voluntarily filed for Chapter 11. The company president, the new president of the company named Peter Martosella, said that there were problems created by the creditor's position, which he termed ill-advised, but said business would be conducted as usual in the remaining 26 stores, and that Crazy Eddi was still a strong franchise. The company vowed to stay in business, but despite that guy's claims, the company went out of business. And in 1989, by autumn of 1989, sales were continuing to decrease, and stores weren't able to keep items stocked due to the lack of supplier interest in the company.
Because they ain't giving you shit if you're not paying your debts.
Yeah.
Burn me, fool me once, shame on me, on you. Fool me twice.
Yep.
Something like that. I don't know.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you.
It's
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Shame on you.
Shame.
By the end of 1989, the remaining 26 stores closed, and they went out of business completely. Bye-bye.
I wonder if that's what happened to Circuit City.
Well, during a period of 3 years, Crazy Eddi had gone from one of the most lucrative retailers in the United States, trading at $75 a share, to bankruptcy and liquidation. So, meanwhile, this stuff's happening over here. Eddie has a guy named Arnie Spindler who Arnie quit because Eddie fired his father and his brothers. And so there was some family fighting going on between these two families because they worked for him at one point. And Arnie drops dime.
Oh.
He's like, so Crazy Eddi's is doing a whole bunch of dirt. You should look into them. So the SEC starts to look into Crazy Eddi.
You don't want the SEC looking.
They charged him, Eddie Antar, with securities fraud and illegal insider trading. He was charged September 6, 1989. In January 1990, the judge ordered him to, all that money that they had sent to Israel, he was like, bring that shit back to the U.S. right now. Deposit that shit back into the United States. $50 million. That's how much he had to
What was his
pull from Israel.
What was his plan? Like, what I don't understand. just to be sitting fucking rich and do whatever he wants with it and give the money to a different country or just to have it there when he needs it?
It's in bank accounts. So, so he was also ordered to appear in court to explain what happened with the money.
Here we go.
But he failed to appear.
Damn it.
And so the judge issued a fucking warrant. Eddi surrendered to the U.S. Marshals a week later, but he was released and he was ordered to appear for a second hearing. When he failed to appear at that hearing, a second arrest warrant was issued.
Why did they release him?
And they froze his assets.
Hey, Upper East Siders. Welcome to Three Gossip Girls, a Gossip Girl podcast.
I'm Liz, an OG fan of the teen series who watched it live back when it aired in 2008.
And I'm Michelle, a newbie to the show, so I have no idea what's to come, including who Gossip Girl is.
What a gem. What a gem. We also had our good friend Ingrid join us for the first season of the podcast as well.
So, if you like ridiculous ship names,
a special drink paired with the episode,
or maybe just hearing old friends dissect this teen drama in all of its glory, this may be the pod for you.
You can join us 30-something-year-olds every Thursday as we unnecessarily dive deep into an episode of Gossip Girl.
We are currently starting season 4 of the show, and we cannot wait for you to hear some fun changes.
More guests, more predictions, and more drama. I mean, this is Gossip Girl after all.
You can find us on all social media platforms at 3 Gossip Girls Pod and listen on whichever podcast platform you enjoy. XOXO!
He's like, fuck this, I'm not coming.
So Eddi bounces to Israel. He gets a fake passport. He's going by the name David Jacob Levi Cohen. And he goes off to Israel and buys a townhouse. And he's living in Israel. But Sammy, his cousin that was cooking the books, was like, I'll testify for immunity. So Sammy pleaded guilty to 3 felonies, but he did avoid jail time. And he did, however, get 6 months house arrest, 1,200 hours of community service, and 3 years of probation. And he had to pay more than $10,000 in fines. And Sammy now works as a fucking fraud investigator for the goddamn government.
Yeah, Sammy, way to come up, bruh.
That's why I was like, he runs this website.
Got it.
whitecollarfraud.com. And he talks about all kinds of fraud stuff. But he puts, like, there's a big thing about Crazy Eddi on there.
I mean, that's his hands-on experience. He's been there. He lived that.
Mm-hmm. So Eddi was arrested in June 1992 on federal racketeering and conspiracy charges, and he was extradited back to the U.S. in January 1993.
Is he an American citizen?
Yes.
Okay.
He's his grandparents came here from Syria. They were Syrian Jews, and they moved to New York. And that's just where they stayed. So his parents, they're all, they're American.
Sorry, Eddi. They bringing you home, my friend.
So he gets extradited back to the U.S. in January 1993, pleads not guilty, and the trial begins in June 1993. He was prosecuted jointly by the U.S. attorneys Paul Weissman and Michael Chertoff. On July 20th, he was found guilty of 17 counts of fraud. His brother Mitchell was found guilty of 3 counts and acquitted on 2. Eddi was sentenced to 12 and a half years in prison.
Woo, Eddi.
But
he never showed up.
The family's lawyers filed an appeal. They said that they believed that the judge was biased against them, and in April 1994, they fucking overturned Eddi and Mitchell's fucking verdicts.
Okay.
And
that's what rich people do, though. So, just saying. When you have resources.
Yeah. They called Eddi the Darth Vader of capitalism. What? The federal appeals panel. The U.S. attorney, Michael Chertoff, called him the Darth Vader of capitalism, and he vowed to begin a new trial. So they did a new trial, and Eddi eventually pleaded guilty to federal fraud charges in May 1996. In February 1997, he was sentenced to 8 years in prison, and he was ordered to pay more than $150 million in fines.
Damn.
In addition to the more than $1 billion in judgments against him resulting from various civil suits.
I bet.
Efforts to recover additional money from the Antar family on behalf of defrauded stockholders were completed in 2012. So the chain closed in 1989. Or a company led by a man named Alex Adjemi bought the rights to the Crazy Eddi trademark and announced January 1990 that it had purchased the leases on Crazy Eddi's Brooklyn flagship store and other East Brunswick, New Jersey, and another in East Brunswick, New Jersey. The intent was to reopen the chain, but nothing ever fucking happened.
all, boy, what happened, though?
Nothing ever happened. Then in 1998, Eddie's grandchildren, Alan and Mitchell, revived the chain with a shop in Wayne, New Jersey. And as an online internet venture, it was called CrazyEddiOnline.com. The company retained the slogan, "His prices are insane," and they rehired Jerry Carroll, who by this time had founded his own advertising agency, as a spokesman. Despite plans to expand the chain to a potential 10 stores, the new Crazy Eddi did not expand beyond the Wayne store, and in 1999, the only shop of the revived chain closed. Then in 2001, Eddi returned to the company, which had been doing business solely on the internet and by phone for more than a year. He reinitiated the website as CrazyEddi.com and once again hired Jerry Carroll to do his advertising. By 2004, CrazyEddi.com had fucking disappeared again. And after a brief attempt to revive the online retailer in 2005, Crazy Eddi ceased to exist. The Crazy Eddi trademark and the associated intellectual property were acquired by a company in Texas called Trident Growth Fund. And in July 2006, Trident tried to auction the brand and the domain name on eBay. But the reserve price wasn't met, so nobody bought it. You could have sold it without meeting the reserve, you dick, but whatever.
Exactly.
On March 3rd, 2009, it was announced that another guy based in Brooklyn named Jack Jamal bought the rights to the Crazy Eddi name, and he began a new online Crazy Eddi venture as PricesAreInsane.com. He was supposed to be scouting retail space for new Crazy Eddi store locations, and he said he wanted to open 50 locations during the next 2 years. The online store performed business in the same manner as Crazy Eddi's other online store, selling appliances and other electronics through the internet. However, Jamal was never able to find retail space. And in 2012, his venture died. PricesAreInsane.com no longer exists. And as of 2018, Crazy Eddi trademark is listed as abandoned. On September 10th, 2016, Eddie Antar died at the age of 68.
Wow.
And that's the story of Crazy Eddi.
Prices are insane. That's crazy. I just if the goal was just to, I'm sure that wasn't the goal because Eddie got the business from his father. Was his father running the business cricket too?
Okay, so they're when his grandparents came here from Syria, they opened up, they sold stuff at markets. So they had always been in retail.
Okay.
I don't know whose idea it was to start just fucking, it said from the beginning of the start of Crazy Eddi that they started doing this. And Eddie was running the show.
Right.
His dad was doing, he was basically like a silent partner. So I think it was just Eddie. He was like, we're going to avoid as much as we can.
We don't want to pay taxes. We don't want to give money to the government.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I feel like what it is. Hey, I don't want to give money to the government. And a lot of people are like that. I feel like when I first started getting paychecks, I was like, what the fuck? Why they got all my money? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as a business, there's way more taxes you have to pay, I'm sure. And I'm sure that shit adds up. But
because you have to pay income tax. on your paycheck. Your business has to pay business tax. You have to pay payroll tax. You have to pay, whatever the freaking, what is that? Whatever the community tax is, the city tax, the state tax. You have to pay all kinds of taxes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff.
Wild. I want to look into this more. This is very interesting. While you were talking, I was thinking about what I watched this weekend. Have you watched anything lately? Can I just ask you a quick question? If you watched this or not, you watch Operation Varsity Blues?
Yes. No, wait.
The college scandal?
Oh, yes, I watched that. Yeah. I was like, that's not what it's called, but yeah. They called it Operation Varsity Blues when they were investigating him.
Right.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I watched it.
Matthew Modine playing him.
I was like, is that Matthew Modine? And then I was like,
Rick fucking Singer. That motherfucker. I just think that the feds are full of shit. That, like, they had been investigating him for so long, recording all of his phone calls. They had him, what did I say, dead to rights, but he was like, well, I'll snitch on all these other people. And they're like, okay, that's fine. Like, everybody was wrong. And I feel like he built this web, and then when they squashed him, he was like, well, I'm killing everybody else.
Yeah, if I'm going down, they're going down too.
I thought that was super fucked up. But how he was caught, like, there were so many people involved. No one's ever gonna find out. If
there was way too many people involved. And fucking, Massimo, what's his face? Fucking
bully.
Going to the goddamn school.
He's a bully.
What kind of shit?
Why are you trying to ruin opportunities for my child? Because she's a lying bitch. That's why.
Show me her picture on the crew team.
Right. Everyone's like, we've been watching her vlog
videos
every fucking day, and she don't got time for crew.
And she would be filming it if she did.
Exactly. I was just shocked. But then some of the parents who did it behind their kids' backs who didn't know.
Yeah. That was messed up, though. Like, oh, they don't even know that Mark's taking the test for them.
And then Mark. 10K a pop. We knew that, but he was just like, hey, I have to make money. I just think it's like, the only person I feel bad for is that sailing coach from Stanford.
Oh, poor guy.
The one who was a pawn. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, man, that's fucked up. I feel bad for him.
He was like, I went upstairs, sat on my bed, and cried. It's like, oh.
You poor bastard. I felt bad for him.
He's like, there was nothing I could do.
And he was just like he just took the check, and the guy was like, I know him. And he was like, okay, whatever. And then he's on the phone with him, and he's just yang it. And then Rick would just it was straight entrapment. And then he hasn't even done jail time yet. And he's not going to do jail time until everybody else does their jail time or gets their sentence.
And meanwhile, he's on the phone telling people, yeah, no, I'm not going to jail.
Fuck that guy.
No, I'm not going to jail. I like how they're like, yeah, he goes swimming every day, and he gets out of the pool in his Speedo.
Yeah.
He's on the phone.
Driving his fucking Porsche.
Ugh.
I can't stand him. When that camera was in his face, they're like, hey, man, system's broken, right? He just didn't say anything.
He's gross.
I'm like, snitches get stitches, bitch. What's up now, Rick? Shank, shank, shank! And then ran off.
All these rich people, that's not how they do business.
But... okay, you're listening to one of the feds on the phone, right? They were like, these white-collar people, they just say anything over the phone. They don't, like...
They do.
Blah, 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 blah,
blah,
blah, blah.
They don't know how to be criminals. That's the funny thing, because, like, Tony Soprano's like, hey, shut up. Don't say that over the phone. Don't call me here. Meanwhile, they're like, oh, yeah, we fucked that guy real good. Yeah, we're going to get all this money. We're raping everybody.
Right? Can't believe we got away with it. Right?
Stupid.
I was just like, damn. It's messed up. And these people who were like super skeptical, like, how you know that, they're asking. Like,
how do you know he's going to get in? Oh, he's going to get in.
Oh, and he was exploiting like all the extra time for people with learning disabilities. Uh-huh. And, I thought it was funny how they were like, it's just the elite people who do this type of stuff.
Yeah, because they can afford it. And
exactly.
And they feel like they're entitled to this, to whatever they, whatever their money pays for them. That's what I was like, oh my God, that's why fucking, I Care a Lot. What was her name?
Oh, Marla?
Marla. That's why Marla wanted to be rich, so she could do exactly what they're doing. Mm-hmm. She could use money as a weapon, because that's what they were doing. They were weaponizing their money.
Man, I just thought it was...
yeah, well, what makes you so sure that they're going to get in? He's like, oh, they're going to get in. Like, they're going to get in. You don't have to worry about that.
Do you know who I am? They're going to get in.
And you know, it sucks. Yeah, like the kids that don't know that their parents have done this. And
my other daughter's like really smart. She's not dumb like my other one. The fuck? Fuck you, mom. What was she with the descendant of Hot Pockets or something like that?
The Hot Pockets kids.
The Hot Pockets heiress. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Hot Pockets. I felt bad for them. They all went to jail on some shit, but I mean, you can't cheat yourself into college, and what you did was wrong.
And you get into this college and you're gonna fail. You're going to fail. But the thing is, I think the point was made so fucking brilliantly. He's like, these schools, every school is the fucking same. The only thing that matters is their name, and it wouldn't if it wasn't this way. If they weren't freaking denying 80% of their fucking applicants, people wouldn't be trying to get into these schools. And he was like, there's a billion schools that these kids could get into, but they're all trying to get into the same school.
Yeah.
So
Fresno
stupid.
State, son, you see education, look at California State University. What's up? Fine schools we have in our state. Fine.
It's so stupid. I'm like, literally, like, oh, because nobody cares what school you went to after you graduate.
They really don't, baby.
It's not going to help you get a job.
It really isn't, because
unless you're trying to get a job in your dad's company or something.
Well, that's different, but that degree only allows people to see you. It's just you're okay, we might consider this applicant since they have a college education, but
exactly,
you have to earn that job and you have to be able to perform the duty. And if you cannot, bye.
The funny thing is with the Ivy League schools specifically, they're not special. Like, they don't have anything better than any other schools. The only thing is that they have rich people that went there and they donate money. Well, so they have more buildings. That's it.
The funny thing is, most of the fraud cases and the people that we discuss, when they're like up there, they come from Harvard. Mm-hmm. So maybe you don't want to go to that school, or maybe you do. It really depends. No, I just wanted to know if you watched that. I also watched that the GameStop one. Did you watch the GameStop one?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's good. I think we should talk about it. It was good. I need to finish watching it. I don't know if I finished it.
I didn't see it.
I think it's on HBO Max.
Oh, maybe that's why.
It might be.
I was watching Netflix yesterday.
It's super interesting, but go ahead. I did cut you off. What else have you been watching?
I tried to watch that Amy Poehler movie. I fell asleep on it.
What's it
last
on?
night. It's on Netflix. What's it called?
Oh, Amy Poehler.
I can't remember, but it's basically about these girls that go to this school where, you know, of course the athletes are treated like fucking, the football players, my bad. The star football player is a complete dick, and the fucking guidance counselor is a goddamn bitch.
Ooh.
And, I mean, she's stupid. She enables him to, like, sexually harass girls.
Oh my God.
They put out a list. I forgot what the hell the name of the movie is. I watched it. I was like, I just don't like the way these characters are written, because nobody reacts this way in real life.
A lot of stuff on television's unreal.
I'm just like, why did she write this guidance counselor like this? Like, she's awful. And then Ike Barinholtz is a teacher.
I like Ike.
It's just Moxie. It's called Moxie.
It's called Moxie.
Shut up. Yeah, no, it's called. I remember because the daughter, Amy Poehler's daughter in the movie, she starts a zine. And it's called Moxie, and she basically bases it on, or designs it around being, do you remember Bikini Kill? The alternative band, they came out around the same time as Nirvana in the 90s.
No.
Okay, well, she bases it on Bikini Kill and the Riot Girls. Basically, the whole 90s feminist,
rock,
you know, down with the patriarchy type thing.
Yeah.
She creates this zine basically railing against these asshole dudes and the system that is keeping them
on top
in power, so to speak, in the high school fucking, you know,
politics.
But I fell asleep on it. But I was just like there's a scene where the football player, like there's a new girl and she's like not into him, and he has a problem with her. She's getting a soda. He takes her soda, opens it up, spits in it, and hands it to her.
Ew!
And I'm just like, this is not how that would have played out in real life, because I would have thrown that fucking soda at his head. And then I would have kicked him in the dick, and he would be on the ground crying, and then I'd probably kick him in the fucking face.
That wouldn't happen to you, but...
But she just stood there and took the soda back, and I was just like, that's not how shit happens.
That's not how shit should happen.
Ugh.
That triggered you, yeah?
I was just like, ew, why Amy Poehler? Why did you write this character like this? Like, he could have done something else that was offensive, but that, I have a problem with it.
I have a problem with it. Okay. So do you have a thumbs up for the week?
Thumbs up this week. I really would like to go to Vegas, but that's not a thumbs up.
I would really like to go to Vegas too, and I think we should take a girls trip.
I want to go. I want to go somewhere.
I want to.
I want to do things. But no. What's my thumbs up?
I want to go places.
Warm weather. I guess that's my thumbs up. What's your thumbs up?
I am going to start some cucumber and melon seeds indoors. And get those bitches planted outside and really start growing. I was in my garage and I noticed that I have like some old bed rails and stuff. And I was like, I could put these in the garden and have a trellis, you know, for my cucumbers to crawl up.
Oh, are they a vine?
Yes. They're vining, and I could do melons that way, like watermelon and cucumber. And I've got some, I said cucumber already. Watermelon and cantaloupe, and I have some tiger melon. And then I have some...
What's a tiger melon?
It's like it looks like this, and it has like tiger stripes on it. It might be called a tiger melon. I've never actually tasted it yet. I've never grown one yet, but I've got the seeds. I'm growing these things called ground cherries. I think those are trellising things too. So I've got some trellis making shit that I found in the garage, and I was like, oh, this stuff almost went to waste. But I mean, other than that, you know, chilling like a villain. I don't know. I think the world is opening up a little bit more. I got to, like I said, go out.
There's a new
Strain.
A new, what do they call it? They don't call it a strain. They call it a something.
Variant.
There it is. They call it, there's a new variant that's they found it in Oregon.
Oh,
so
great.
It'll be here soon. And the vaccine's not coming out any fucking faster. And Governor Newsom is like, we're gonna be able to issue the vaccine to everybody by 5 weeks. But now there's an issue with the vaccine coming.
What do you mean?
Or whatever. I don't know. It was on the news today. Like, people were getting pissed. And I was just like, well, you know.
That's why I don't watch the news. I just watch what's going on around me.
It was in my... No, I didn't watch the news. It was just a headline that popped up on my...
On your phone.
Yeah.
Well, I know Mom and Grandma are vaccinated. Jamal had his first dose.
Oh, he got it?
Mm-hmm, he got it like a few weeks ago, so he's going to get his second one soon. So I'm like, hey, the people around me are vaccinated. Woo woo. When it's my turn, I'll, consider it, I guess. All right, go for consider it.
Vaccine.
Change. But yeah, that's my thumbs up. Hey guys, thanks for being here with us. Please come back. Please subscribe. Please leave us a review. We would like that very much. Send us an email. Tell us what you want to hear. If you have a story, or slide in the DM and send it to us. bookoflifepodcast@gmail.com. That would be super great. Other than that, I'm Sunny Hepburn.
And I'm Brandy Flakes.
And this was Book of Lies. The podcast.
It's bold bitches.